First contact and misunderstanding. The vast emptiness of space crackled with tension as the sleek, obsidian ships of the Zarkov Empire emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Krellinx, his scaled skin glinting under the soft blue lights of the command bridge, leaned forward in his command chair. His multifaceted eyes narrowed as he studied the holographic display of the unremarkable yellow star and its orbiting planets. "Scan for signs of advanced civilization," he ordered, his voice a low rumble that carried the weight of countless conquered worlds. Lieutenant Vixara, her tendrils twitching with nervous energy, manipulated the controls of her station. "Detecting electromagnetic emissions from the third planet, Admiral. Primitive communications technology. But wait." She paused, her brow furrowing in confusion. "There's something else. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database." Krellinx's mandibles clicked in annoyance. "Elaborate, Lieutenant." "It's difficult to describe, sir. The energy patterns are chaotic, yet somehow structured. They don't match any known weapon or propulsion system." The Admiral's interest was piqued. In the millennia since the Zarkov had begun their crusade of galactic domination, they had encountered countless species, each falling before their superior technology and martial prowess. But never had they found energy signatures they couldn't identify. "Prepare a scouting party," Krellinx commanded. "I want eyes on the ground. And Lieutenant, keep monitoring those energy signatures. If they pose any threat to our mission, I want to know immediately." As the scouting ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, cloaked from detection, humanity remained blissfully unaware of the looming threat. In New York City, Dr. Elena Rodriguez rushed through the crowded streets, her mind racing with the implications of her latest discovery. The quantum entanglement experiment had yielded results that defied explanation. Somehow, the subatomic particles weren't just communicating instantaneously across vast distances. They were tapping into an energy field that shouldn't exist. It was as if they had stumbled upon a hidden layer of reality, a wellspring of power that could revolutionize everything from computing to space travel. Elena burst into the lab, startling her colleague, Dr. James Chen. "James, you're not going to believe this. I've run the numbers again, and it's not a fluke. We're onto something big here." James looked up from his computer, his eyes widening as Elena pulled up the data on the main screen. This changes everything," he whispered. "Do you realize what this could mean for humanity?" Before Elena could respond, a deafening boom shook the building. They rushed to the window, their jaws dropping at the sight that greeted them. A massive, otherworldly ship hovered over Central Park, its surface rippling like liquid metal. Panic erupted in the streets as smaller craft emerged from the mothership, descending upon the city. Elena and James watched in horror as strange, insectoid creatures began to materialize on the ground, their armor gleaming in the afternoon sun. "Oh my God," Elena breathed. "It's really happening." First contact. James gripped the edge of the desk, his knuckles white. "Somehow, I don't think they're here to exchange scientific knowledge." In the chaos that followed, as the Zarkov scouting party began their systematic sweep of the city, humanity's response was anything but uniform. Some fled in terror, while others stood their ground, recording the historic moment on their smartphones. Law enforcement scrambled to establish a perimeter, but their weapons seemed ineffective against the aliens' advanced armor. Admiral Krellinx observed the unfolding scene from orbit, his expression unreadable. "Assessment, Lieutenant." Vixara's voice trembled slightly as she reported. "The species appears to be in the early stages of technological development. Admiral, they pose no immediate threat to our forces. However," she hesitated. "Speak freely, Lieutenant. The energy signatures we detected, they're emanating from multiple locations on the planet, and they're growing stronger." Krellinx's eyes narrowed. "Interesting. Perhaps these primitives are more than they appear. Prepare the main invasion force. We'll crush any resistance quickly and add this world to our empire." As the sun set on that fateful day, humanity stood on the precipice of a war they never saw coming. In labs and secret government facilities around the world, scientists like Alina and James worked feverishly to understand the strange energy they had discovered, an energy that, unbeknownst to them, would soon become their greatest weapon against an overwhelming alien threat. The Zarkov, confident in their superiority, had no idea that they had just awakened a sleeping giant. In the coming days, humanity would be pushed to the brink, forced to unlock potential they never knew they possessed. And in doing so, they would teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Underestimate humans at your own peril. The galactic threat emerges. The days following first contact were a blur of chaos, confusion, and mounting dread. As news of the alien invasion spread across the globe, governments scrambled to respond, militaries mobilized, and civilians alternated between panic and a grim determination to survive. In Washington, D.C., President Samantha Reeves stood before a hastily assembled war council, her face etched with the weight of leadership in humanity's darkest hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we are facing an unprecedented threat. These aliens, whoever they are, have technology far beyond our own. But we will not go quietly into the night. We will fight, and we will find a way to win. General Marcus Stone, a veteran of countless conflicts, leaned forward, his weathered face grim. Madam President, conventional weapons are proving ineffective against their armor and shields. We need a game changer, and we need it fast. As if on cue, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was ushered into the room, her lab coat wrinkled and dark circles under her eyes betraying days without sleep. Mr. President, I believe we may have that game changer. All eyes turned to her as she quickly set up her presentation. In the days before the invasion, my team discovered an anomaly in our quantum entanglement experiments. We've been working around the clock to understand it, and we think we've stumbled upon a new form of energy, one that the aliens seem to be aware of, but haven't fully harnessed. The room fell silent as Elena explained the potential of this new energy source, how it could theoretically be used to create weapons capable of penetrating alien defenses, power shields of their own, and even disrupt the invaders' technology. President Reeves' eyes sparked with hope for the first time since the invasion began. How soon can we weaponize this? Elena hesitated. That's the problem, Madam President. We're still in the theoretical stages. We need time, resources, and test subjects. General Stone's eyebrows shot up. Test subjects. You mean alien tech? Elena nodded. Exactly. If we could get our hands on their technology, we could accelerate our research exponentially. The president's jaw set in determination. Then that's what we'll do. General Stone, I want our best special forces units prepped for capture missions. Dr. Rodriguez, you'll have every resource at your disposal. This is now humanity's top priority. As the meeting adjourned, none of them were aware that high above the Earth, Admiral Krellinx was facing his own challenges. On the bridge of the Zarkov flagship, Krellinx paced restlessly. The invasion was not proceeding as smoothly as he had anticipated. Report, Lieutenant Vixera. The young officer's tendrils twitched nervously. Admiral, we've established footholds in major population centers, but resistance is unexpectedly fierce. These humans, they're adapting to our tactics at an alarming rate. Krellinx's mandibles clicked in irritation. They are primitives. How can they possibly adapt to technologies millennia beyond their understanding? Sir, it's not just their military resistance. Those energy signatures we detected, they're growing stronger, and they seem to be interfering with some of our systems. We've lost contact with several scouting parties in areas of high energy concentration. For the first time in his long, storied career, Admiral Krellinx felt a twinge of uncertainty. He had conquered countless worlds, faced species far more technologically advanced than these humans, and yet something about this planet and its inhabitants unsettled him. Gather the War Council, he ordered. We need to reassess our strategy. As the Zarkov leaders convened, heated debate erupted. Some advocated for an immediate, overwhelming strike to crush human resistance once and for all. Others urged caution, warning that there was more to these primitive beings than met the eye. In the end, Admiral Krellinks made his decision. We will accelerate our timetable. Commence full-scale invasion immediately. We'll overwhelm them with sheer numbers and firepower. And I want those energy hotspots identified and neutralized. Whatever the humans are hiding, we cannot allow them to harness it. Little did the Zarkoth know, their accelerated invasion played right into humanity's hands. As alien forces poured from the skies in greater numbers, they presented more opportunities for Earth's defenders to capture their technology. In the war-torn streets of London, Captain Sarah Mitchell led her team through the rubble, their objective clear, a downed alien scout ship just a few blocks away. Remember, she whispered to her squad, we need that ship intact. This could be our chance to turn the tide. As they approached the crash site, the eerie quiet was shattered by the distinct hum of Zarkoth energy weapons. Captain Mitchell's team dove for cover as alien troops converged on the downed ship. Looks like they want their tech back as badly as we want to take it, Sarah muttered. She keyed her radio. All units, engage with extreme prejudice. Capture of alien tech is priority one. The battle that ensued was fierce and desperate. Human ingenuity and adaptability clashed with alien technology and discipline. Sarah watched in awe as one of her soldiers, a young private named Chen, managed to commandeer a fallen Zarkoth's weapon, turning it against its former masters with devastating effect. In the end, battered and bloodied but victorious, Sarah's team secured the alien scout ship. As they worked to extract it, Sarah couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. They had a chance now, a real chance to understand their enemy and fight back. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Humanity, pushed to the brink, began to push back. The cost was high, the casualties staggering, but with each small victory, with each piece of alien technology captured, the balance began to shift ever so slightly. In her lab, now relocated to a secure underground facility, Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked tirelessly. Surrounded by a team of the world's brightest minds, she pored over the alien tech, unlocking its secrets one by one. It's incredible, she murmured, examining a piece of Zarkoth armor under a microscope. Their technology, it's not just advanced, it's fundamentally different. They're manipulating energy and matter in ways we never even imagined. Her colleague, Dr. James Chen, looked up from his own work. Elena, come look at this. I think I found something in their power systems. It's related to those energy signatures we detected before the invasion. As they huddled over the alien power core, realization dawned. The Zarkoth weren't just aware of the strange energy field Elena had discovered. They were actively using it, albeit in a limited, inefficient way. James, Elena breathed, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. I think we've just found their Achilles heel. If we can harness this energy more effectively than they can, we might just have a chance at winning this war, James finished. As night fell on a world forever changed, humanity stood at a crossroads. The Zarkoth threat loomed larger than ever, their full invasion force bearing down with the weight of a galactic empire. But for the first time since the aliens arrived, there was a spark of real hope. In labs and battlefields across the planet, humans worked feverishly, pushing the boundaries of science and courage. They had uncovered a power that could alter the course of the war, perhaps even the fate of the galaxy. But could they master it in time? And what unforeseen consequences might arise from wielding such a fundamental force of the universe? The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the future of not just Earth, but of all spacefaring civilizations. Humanity, the underdog, the primitive species, was about to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of when pushed to the brink. Humanity's unexpected resistance. The world had become a battlefield, a patchwork of resistance and occupation. Cities lay in ruins, their skylines forever altered by the presence of looming Zarkoth ships. Yet amid the destruction, Humanity's spirit remained unbroken, their determination to survive growing stronger with each passing day. In the depths of the Rocky Mountains, a secret facility bustled with activity. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a team of engineers and scientists, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of exhaustion and excitement. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to attempt has never been done before. If we succeed, we'll change the course of this war. If we fail, well, let's not fail. The room was filled with prototype weapons and devices, each incorporating the strange energy field they have discovered. Some were offensive weapons designed to penetrate Zarkov shields. Others were defensive systems that could potentially protect entire cities. But the crown jewel of their research sat at the center of the room, a sleek, silvery device that hummed with barely contained power. The disruption matrix, Elena explained, gesturing to the device. If our calculations are correct, this will allow us to tap into the energy field on a massive scale, disrupting the Zarkov's technology across an entire continent. Dr. James Chen stepped forward, his face grave. But we have to be careful. We're dealing with forces we barely understand. The potential for unintended consequences is enormous. As the team prepared for their first full-scale test, tensions ran high. They all knew that the fate of humanity could hinge on the success or failure of this moment. Thousands of miles away, in the war-torn streets of Tokyo, Captain Akira Tanaka led a group of resistance fighters through the ruins of the once bustling metropolis. They moved silently, their weapons at the ready, each step calculated to avoid detection by the patrolling Zarkov forces. Akira's radio crackled to life, the voice of his second-in-command, Yuki, coming through in a whisper. "Captain, we've got movement ahead. Looks like a Zarkov supply convoy." A grim smile crossed Akira's face. "Perfect. Let's show these aliens that Earth isn't theirs for the taking." The ambush was swift and brutal. Using guerrilla tactics and a few pieces of reverse-engineered alien tech, Akira's team struck from the shadows. The Zarkov, caught off guard by the ferocity and effectiveness of the attack, fell into disarray. As the dust settled, Akira surveyed the aftermath. His team had suffered losses, but they had secured a significant haul of alien weapons and supplies. More importantly, they had sent a message: humanity would not go quietly. High above the Earth, aboard the Zarkov flagship, Admiral Krellinks received the latest reports with growing frustration. "How is this possible?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the command center. "These primitives should have been crushed by now." Lieutenant Vixera approached cautiously, her tendrils twitching nervously. "Admiral, our forces are reporting increased resistance across all fronts. The humans, they're using our own technology against us. And those energy signatures we detected, they're growing stronger and more focused." Krellinks' eyes narrowed. For the first time in his long career of conquest, he felt a twinge of doubt. These humans were proving to be unlike any species the Zarkov had ever encountered. Their adaptability, their sheer tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds, was something he had never seen before. "Prepare a strike force," he ordered. "I want their centers of resistance identified and obliterated. We'll show these humans the true might of the Zarkov Empire." As the alien armada prepared for a massive counterattack, back in the Rocky Mountain facility, Elena and her team initiated the test of the disruption matrix. The air crackled with energy as the device powered up, its hum growing to a crescendo. "Energy levels are stable," James called out, his eyes fixed on the monitors. "Initiating wide-area pulse in 3, 2, 1. A wave of invisible energy pulsed outward from the facility, spreading across the continent at the speed of light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, reports started flooding in from across North America. "Zarkov ships are falling from the sky in Dallas. Alien ground forces are in disarray in Toronto. Their weapons have gone dark in Mexico City." A cheer went up in the control room. The disruption matrix had worked beyond their wildest expectations, crippling Zarkov technology across an entire continent. But their celebration was short-lived. As the energy wave continued to spread, unexpected side effects began to manifest. The Earth's magnetic field fluctuated wildly, causing widespread power outages. Tectonic plates shifted, triggering earthquakes in regions normally free from seismic activity. Elena's face paled as she realized the implications. "We've tapped into something far more powerful and fundamental than we realized," she murmured. "We may have just changed the very nature of our planet." As reports of the disruption and its aftermath reached the Zarkov fleet, Admiral Krellinx was forced to reassess his entire strategy. These humans had unveiled a weapon that could render the technological superiority of the Zarkov meaningless. For the first time in the history of their empire, they faced an enemy that could not only resist them, but potentially defeat them. In war rooms and command centers around the world, human leaders grappled with the implications of their new weapon. They had a means to fight back effectively against the Zarkov, but at what cost? The disruption matrix's effects on Earth's systems were still not fully understood, and using it could be as dangerous to humanity as it was to their alien invaders. President Samantha Reeves addressed the United Nations via a secure global broadcast. Her voice was steady, but the weight of her words was palpable. "We stand at a crossroads. We have the means to drive back our invaders, but in doing so, we risk irreparably changing our world. The choice before us is not an easy one, but it is one we must make together as a united human race." As debates raged and strategies were formed, one thing became clear: the war had entered a new phase. The Zarkov, once confident in their easy victory, now faced a foe that defied all their preconceptions. Humanity, pushed to the brink of extinction, had unlocked a power that could reshape the galaxy. In the skies above Earth, in the ruined cities and hidden bases, in the hearts and minds of every human fighting for survival, a new determination took hold. They had been invaded, nearly conquered, but now they had hope. Now they had a chance not just to survive, but to show the cosmos what humanity was truly capable of when united against a common threat. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the balance of power in the galaxy. As both sides prepared for the battles to come, one question loomed large. In their quest for victory, how much of their humanity were Earth's defenders willing to sacrifice? And what would be the cost of unleashing powers beyond their full comprehension? The war for Earth, and perhaps for the soul of humanity itself, was about to enter its most crucial and dangerous phase. The turning point. The world held its breath as humanity stood on the precipice of a decision that would alter the course of history. The disruption matrix, humanity's newfound weapon against the Zarkov invaders, had proven its effectiveness, but at a terrible cost. Earth itself seemed to rebel against the use of this power, with natural disasters increasing in frequency and intensity across the globe. In a heavily fortified bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva, world leaders convened in an emergency session of the United Nations. The debate was fierce, with passionate arguments on both sides. "We cannot hesitate," thundered the representative from Brazil, his fist pounding the table. "Every moment we delay, more of our people die under Zarkov oppression. We must use the matrix, consequences be damned." The Chinese delegate rose, her voice calm but resolute. "And what of those consequences? We risk destroying the very world we're trying to save. There must be another way." As the debate raged on, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team worked tirelessly to refine the disruption matrix. In a makeshift lab, surrounded by humming equipment and holographic displays, Elena pored over the data from their first large-scale test. "James, look at this," she called to her colleague, excitement creeping into her voice. "I think I've found a way to focus the matrix's effect. We could potentially target the Zarkov technology without causing widespread damage to Earth's systems." Dr. James Chen hurried over, his eyes widening as he scanned the calculations. "Elena, this is brilliant. But the power requirements are enormous. We'd need a global network of transmission stations to make it work." Elena's face set in determination. Then that's what we'll do. We'll turn the entire planet into one giant disruption matrix. As word of this new development spread, a daring plan began to take shape. Humanity would make its stand, not with a single decisive blow, but with a coordinated global effort that would require cooperation on an unprecedented scale. High above the Earth, aboard the Zarkov flagship, Admiral Krellinks received reports of increased human activity with growing unease. The initial success of the disruption matrix had forced the Zarkov to adapt, shielding their most critical systems against the humans' newfound power. But the cost had been high, slowing their conquest to a crawl. "Admiral," Lieutenant Vixera reported, her voice tinged with concern, "our long-range sensors are detecting a strange buildup of energy across the planet's surface. It's unlike anything we've seen before." Krellinks's mandibles clicked in agitation. These humans, these primitives he had so gravely underestimated, were planning something big. He could feel it in his carapace. "Prepare the fleet," he ordered, his voice resonating with grim determination. "We end this now, before they can unleash whatever weapon they're preparing. Commence global bombardment. Reduce their cities to ash." As Zarkov's ships descended from the skies, raining destruction upon Earth's major population centers, humanity's plan swung into action. In hidden facilities across the planet, teams of scientists and engineers worked feverishly to bring Alina's global disruption matrix online. In the war-torn streets of Paris, Captain Sarah Mitchell led a team to secure a critical transmission node. "Move fast, people," she barked, her voice tight with urgency. "We've got 10 minutes to get this station online before the Zarkov level the entire city." As her team raced against time, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the sight before her. Civilians worked alongside soldiers, former enemies fought side by side, all united in a common purpose. The Zarkov invasion, for all its horror, had done what countless wars and treaties had failed to do. It had united humanity. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In the mountains of Tibet, monks worked tirelessly to align ancient stone circles with the new technology. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes guided scientists to hidden locations of power. In the heart of New York City, a group of hackers turned their skills to coordinating the global network. As the hours ticked by, the Zarkov bombardment intensified. Cities burned, monuments crumbled, but still humanity fought on. Every transmission node brought online was a small victory, every setback met with renewed determination. In her command center, President Samantha Reeves watched the global holographic display with a mixture of pride and fear. Dots of light representing active matrix nodes flickered into existence across the planet, forming a web of humanity's last best hope. "Madam President," her aide reported, "we've reached critical mass. The global network is ready to activate on your command." Samantha closed her eyes for a moment, the weight of the decision heavy on her shoulders. When she opened them again, they burned with resolve. Do it. With the press of a button, the global disruption matrix hummed to life. Energy coursed through the network, building to a crescendo that seemed to make the very air vibrate. For a moment, the world held its breath. Then, like a tidal wave of invisible force, the matrix pulse swept across the planet. Zarkov ships tumbled from the sky, their systems overloaded and disabled. On the ground, alien weapons fell silent, their advanced technology rendered useless in an instant. Admiral Krellinks watched in horror as his mighty fleet was brought low by the primitive species he had so gravely underestimated. "Impossible," he whispered, his mandibles quivering in disbelief. As the pulse subsided, an eerie quiet settled over the battlefields of Earth. Humans emerged from their shelters, scarcely daring to believe what they were seeing. The Zarkov invasion force, once so terrifying in its power, lay broken and defenseless. But the victory came at a cost. The global pulse had pushed Earth's systems to their limits. Earthquakes rocked the planet, tsunamis threatened coastal cities, and auroras danced in the skies over every continent. In the aftermath of the pulse, as humanity began to grapple with both their victory and its consequences, a new signal caught the attention of listening posts around the world. It was coming from the disabled Zarkov flagship, still in orbit above the Earth. To the defenders of Earth, the message began. Admiral Krellings's voice, trained but clear, "You have done the impossible. You have defeated the undefeatable. I, underestimated you. In all our conquests across the galaxy, we have never encountered a species like yours." The message continued, the once proud admiral now speaking words that would change the course of galactic history. "On behalf of the Zarkov Empire, I hereby surrender to the human race. We await your terms." As news of the surrender spread, celebrations erupted across the planet. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. But as the initial euphoria faded, the enormity of what came next began to sink in. They had won the war, but at what cost? The Earth was wounded, its very foundations shaken by the power they had unleashed. And now, they found themselves custodians not just of their own world, but of a defeated alien empire. In the coming days, as the dust settled and the work of rebuilding began, humanity would have to grapple with questions that would define their species for generations to come. How would they treat their defeated foes? What would they do with the advanced technology now at their disposal? And perhaps most importantly, how would they wield the awesome responsibility that came with their newfound place in the galactic community? The war was over, but humanity's greatest challenge, and its greatest opportunity, was just beginning. A new era dawns. The months following the Zarkov surrender were a whirlwind of activity as humanity grappled with the monumental task of rebuilding their world and redefining their place in the universe. The once mighty Zarkov fleet hung in Earth's orbit, a constant reminder of both the devastation of war and the remarkable victory achieved against all odds. In the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in New York, now a striking blend of human and alien architecture, world leaders convened to chart the course for humanity's future. The debate was no longer about survival, but about the kind of interstellar civilization Earth would become. President Samantha Reeves stood at the podium, her voice carrying to every corner of the globe and beyond. To the Zarkov ships in orbit, "We stand at the dawn of a new era," she began, her words weighted with the gravity of the moment. "We have proven ourselves on the galactic stage, but our greatest test lies ahead. Will we use our victory to dominate, as the Zarkov did, or will we forge a new path, one of cooperation and mutual understanding?" The chamber erupted in discussion, with impassioned arguments on all sides. Some called for the complete subjugation of the Zarkov, a reversal of fortunes that would see humanity ascend as the new galactic superpower. Others advocated for mercy, arguing that this was an opportunity to break the cycle of conquest and revenge. As the debate raged on, Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of Zarkov technology. In a vast research facility built from the remnants of a downed alien ship, Elena pored over schematics and energy readings. "It's incredible," she murmured to Dr. James Chen, who stood beside her. "Their technology, it's not just advanced, it's fundamentally different from ours. They'd been using this energy field, what we call the disruption matrix, for millennia. But they've only scratched the surface of its potential." James nodded, his eyes wide with excitement. "And now, with our understanding of quantum mechanics and their practical applications, we might be able to take it further than they ever dreamed." Elena's face grew serious. "But that's exactly what worries me, James. We've seen what this power can do, how it can reshape planets. If we're not careful, we could become an even greater threat to the galaxy than the Zarkov ever were." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion outside. A group of protesters had gathered, their signs demanding everything from immediate colonization of other worlds to the complete dismantling of all alien technology. The scene was a microcosm of the larger debate raging across the planet. Humanity, for all its unity during the war, was once again divided on the path forward. But this time, The stakes were higher than ever before. In orbit, aboard the Zarkov flagship, now a neutral zone under joint human-Zarkov control, Admiral Krelink sat across from Captain Sarah Mitchell. The human soldier who had once been his enemy was now his most frequent point of contact with Earth's leadership. "I still don't understand," Krelink said, his mandibles clicking softly. "You had us at your mercy. You could have destroyed us, enslaved us. Why didn't you?" Sarah leaned back, a small smile playing on her lips. "Because that's not who we are, Admiral. Or at least, it's not who we want to be. We've been given a chance to reshape the galaxy, to break the cycle of conquest and retribution. We'd be fools not to take it." Krelink's multifaceted eyes studied her, seeing the human species in a new light. "In all our travels, all our conquests, we never encountered a species quite like yours. Your adaptability, your creativity, your capacity for both violence and mercy. You are unique in this galaxy, Captain Mitchell." "We're not perfect," Sarah admitted. "We've made plenty of mistakes, and we'll make more. But we're trying to learn to be better, and we hope you'll join us in that effort." As the days turned to weeks and months, a new order began to emerge. The disruption matrix, once a weapon of last resort, was repurposed. Under the guidance of Elena James and a team of human and Zarkov scientists, it became a tool for healing the very planet it had nearly destroyed. Tectonic plates were stabilized, weather patterns regulated, and the scars of war slowly faded from the Earth's surface. But the Matrix's impact went far beyond Earth. It revolutionized space travel, energy production, and communication across vast distances. In time, joint human-Zarkov expeditions set out to explore the galaxy. They encountered other civilizations, some friendly, others hostile, but none could match the unique partnership that had formed between the former enemies. 5 years after the end of the war, humanity celebrated its first extrasolar colony. As the sun rose on a distant world, casting its light on a landscape of alien beauty, Elena stood beside James, watching the first colonists disembark. "Did you ever imagine we'd end up here?" James asked, his voice filled with wonder. Elena shook her head, a smile on her face. "Never. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? We've discovered that the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we ever dreamed, and we're just getting started." As if to emphasize her point, a Zarkov ship descended from the sky, carrying more colonists, a mix of humans and their former enemies, now partners in the greatest adventure of all. Back on Earth, in the heart of New York City, a new monument was unveiled. It stood where the Statue of Liberty once did, a towering structure that combined human and Zarkov design. At its base, a simple inscription read, "To the indomitable spirit of humanity and the power of understanding. May we forever reach for the stars, not to conquer, but to connect." President Reeves, nearing the end of her final term, stood before the monument, addressing a crowd that included humans from every nation and Zarkov from across their former empire. "We stand here today, not as conquerors, not as the dominated, but as equals," she said, her voice carrying the weight of history and the promise of the future. "We have learned that our greatest strength lies not in our technology, not in our ability to make war, but in our capacity to forge peace, to understand those different from ourselves, and to imagine a better future." As her words echoed across the gathered crowd and were transmitted to colonies and outposts across the solar system and beyond, a new chapter in galactic history was being written. Humanity, once a primitive species on a small blue planet, had emerged as a force for change in the universe. They had faced extinction and emerged victorious. They had wielded power that could reshape planets and chosen to use it for creation rather than destruction. And now, as they took their first steps into a larger galaxy, they carried with them a message that even in the darkest of times, hope, unity, and the indomitable human spirit could light the way to a brighter future. The story of humanity's war against the Zarkov would be told for generations to come. but it would be remembered not just as a tale of victory against impossible odds, but as the moment when humanity truly understood its place in the cosmos, not as conquerors, but as explorers, peacekeepers, and bridge builders in a vast and wondrous universe. As the sun set on this new era, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, beckoning humanity towards endless possibilities and adventures yet to come.